And we are live. Welcome everybody to the AMA follow-up from Gimme The Coin. We're going to take this opportunity maybe to just go over a couple of things as we wait for people to join the stream. But I'm happy to answer any questions that may come up and just go over a couple quick things here. So let's take a look here at the first thing we want to discuss is our Average Joe contest. That's coming out to is finishing today. I just want to explain a little bit about what that contest entails and what it does for us. But the contest ran from Saturday to this evening at 23:59 Universal Standard Time, or UTC, Zulu. And we are going to award a single account whose total purchases comes closest to the average purchases of all the transactions over the same period of time. So they have the opportunity to win 2 times their purchases, and hopefully somebody can take advantage of that and walk away with a nice windfall. We've already had a couple of reasonably good-sized transactions, so the average amount is relatively good, and whoever gets closest to it could have a nice little windfall. So look forward to that. And the way we do that is we just collect the information off of etherscan.io and do a comparison over the period of time, just map out what purchases were made and do some quick math, and away it goes. So there's more details on the channel, on our Telegram channel, about the Average Joe contest, and hopefully you'll take advantage of that. For today though, I also want to maybe incentivize the stream a little bit, and the first thing that we'll do is we're going to offer the first 5 purchasers that purchase tokens off the website. So you go to espcoin.io, and you can pick up some coins using the easiest way is using MetaMask or a compatible Web3 browser wallet. But we've shown how to do it with MetaMask. There's a video as a tutorial. What we'll do is the next 5 purchases that are off the website, we're also going to double those. So hopefully you guys can take advantage. There's no real limit to what we're doing there. So if somebody decides to buy $10,000 worth of tokens, we'll actually double it for you. And we're doing this a little bit, obviously, to start gaining some momentum and get things moving forward. But also at the same time, respecting the fact that Ethereum has gone up quite a bit in price in the last week. And so this offering a little bit of a discount to some early adopters again, prior to us going on to exchange, is just an added benefit. So hopefully, you guys can take some advantage of that, and away we go. Let's see, what else do we have here? So I said, yeah, we were topping up, doubling up on the 5 next purchases. So that's for everybody else. And I think that's it. So I think we're on to the Q&A. So we've got a few people on stream here. And let's see, the first question. Is it start right now? Yes, we're on. We're live. I'm here, ready to go. We had a good, again, session with another group with Gimme The Coin. And, we're trying to reach out to as many different audiences as possible. So if some of you have joined some of the previous AMAs, maybe this is a little bit of repetition. But for all the newcomers here, I wanted to give an opportunity to give a little bit more background to some of the answers that I had given on the AMA, and then really would like to answer any questions that any of the audience has, and if you can pop those into the YouTube channel, that'd be great. I'm just going to check also the Twitter feed, or sorry, the Telegram feed, and just see if we get any questions there as well. So, okay, so far nothing there. You talked about yourself and what you did before. Can you tell us about Johan Besner, for example? So Johan I've known for quite a number of years, and he's been installing various solar projects here in Canada, in the Toronto area. So he's very well versed in that solar business, the installation business, how projects get managed, how you get subsidies through various government programs and whatnot. So he acts as an advisor for us for our solar-based projects that are actually happening in Florida. We have other experts and other members on the solar side, the renewable energy side, that also inform us as to how the business is working. There's the technical side where the actual installation of the projects and what's required and how you risk manage and quote the appropriate prices and of course be able to scale the installation right for a residential install. And Johan's an expert in that. My background is electrical engineering, so I also have some amount of input into that group. But then there's also the non-technical side. There's the business side of it, how to manage the contract flow. Our platform is intending to decentralize, provide a DeFi app to provide funding for these projects through a staking mechanism, providing funds to make these programs go forward. And that's all going to be run through smart contracts on the blockchain. So the smart contract is that pivotal element that makes everything work. Basically it gets rid of a lot of the red tape middlemen, so to speak, increases the speed at which funding can be provided to projects. And really it's, we're in the process of defining how we securitize or tokenize the project such that, if we had to collect on the security to make sure we got payment back into the project through the smart contract, legally we have all the different elements in place there. So it's key that we have the right legal framework. We understand how that legal framework works. The smart contract knows how to execute when certain events happen. So if there's a default in terms of a payment, the contract will then send out to providers that have been listed or been certified onto the smart contract that can go follow up on collections. And at some point when a particular threshold is reached, then another event can go actually enforce our security and make sure that we receive payment. So there's some legal framework things that need to happen. And again, it's really now understanding on a regional basis how you securitize the project, and typically that's done with the house itself where the residential install will happen. So that's how we're doing that. And again, Johan has been very much instrumental in providing us a good insight on how that works, and he'll continue to advise us going forward as the project continues. So hopefully I answered that question. I'd like to know more about your team. So yeah, you've probably heard a lot about myself and my background. One of the other key players for me that really helps me execute various components of the business is Hrvoje Soman. And he's from Croatia. He's worked at the government level. He in fact I believe he ran the IT department for the government. In the last 4 or 5 years, we've worked together collectively on fiscalization projects, things related to digital payments, ECR networks, which is why we have the existing network that gets us into these agreements that have brought us into places like Africa and Vietnam. So he's also a key member with a strong expertise in government compliance, taxation and fiscalization. So he's also a very key member, right? I also have a key member with Trang in Vietnam. She comes from an HR background, but a very strong relationship with the educational community, especially on the international school side, which is important for us because initially we will deploy to private schools. So having that interface there was really important. Of course, somebody that speaks the language and is able to bring the talent that we need for development, localization of the different platforms. So again, she also plays a very pivotal role. Who am I forgetting? Let's see, Ralph Sickinger. Ralph Sickinger is, again, someone I've known for the better part of my life. That being said, he has expertise in the public financial markets. So understanding, how that works from an international standpoint, but he is also one of the mainline contacts into the solar-based business, renewable energy side that we expect to launch in Florida initially. So he's being able to bring that capital in because, I'm not sure if I made this point clear the other day, but we are not using the proceeds from the coin sales to fund the actual deployment projects, the different solar-based projects. We use the funds to develop the platforms that will then execute those projects. Okay, so there's a real big difference there. So Ralph having that public market access to investments and funds make that whole solar business, renewable energy side a viable business model. So he's also very key to making that to move forward. Okay. Can you tell me why people must choose your project? Maybe some cool features. Well, I think when we talk about this project, one of the key differences that I think that differentiates us from a lot of the other projects is that we have real businesses that we're building out to support the usage of the token. So real world cases, we're creating the demand for use of the token. So not just an application that's going to sit there and hope that it will actually run. We're going to actually be using the token in a variety of different platforms. So from the standpoint of bringing value back into the Coinbase, where we're injecting funds through buyback programs and so on and so forth, I think that's a real key differentiator between a project that has a neat idea and hope that it flies and it's running on hype or somebody's tweet. We're based on more business fundamentals and execution of these programs into real world applications that are generating real revenue streams and profitability that, again, the token base will get to enjoy. So I think that's one of the key differences. From the standpoint of the actual projects themselves, we're really excited about the educational platforms. Something that's socially responsible that can materially impact the quality of education for children. I think this is a real noble cause. It's been something that I've been trying to push forward now for the better part of 3 years, and we've done a lot of development and so much positive feedback from the community, not just the investor community, but from the actual user community, especially in Vietnam. A lot of these private schools are just waiting for our student information management system. And that, yes, there are other ones that are out there. We have competition in this space, but reality is I think we've packaged this the way we're doing it a little bit differently. We have some really unique selling propositions. But ultimately our plan with integrating the token and how we finance and bring these projects to fruition, we're coming out with very large scale, which means that we're able to offer to the market the platforms at an exceptionally low price when compared to all the other competitors in the space. And one of the great barriers to entry is cost, right? So that's first and foremost on our mind. How do we get something out there that's convenient, fast, easy, available on web, mobile, at an ultra low cost. It's certainly for the student and the parent. We've architected the system where it's free, but also at the municipality or school board level or at the Ministry of Education level for a whole government. We also want to make sure that it's affordable, right? And we literally are pennies on the dollar in terms of cost when we compare it to the competitors. So I think that's another key difference for what we're doing there. On the digital payment side, we're a real enabler for developing nations, and I think that's an exciting use case for us, where the token can be highly integrated into society and used at a high level. And so this brings just a whole bunch of different opportunities for us to leverage. And I think this is another thing that can really bring value back to the coin base. So these are really the exciting things that we're talking about. We're not so, we don't jump up and down and say, here's what we're going to do with the price, or our staking methodology, or this or that, or all the specific around the coin. We're more excited about the business use cases and how we're going to deploy this and how it's going to be a valuable asset going forward long term. So I think that's real key. So hopefully I answered your question. Taras is asking, can you explain a little, in your white paper it says $P token for the educational ecosystem. Can you tell us more about this, what services exactly? Certainly. So in the educational space, we're going to use the ESP token as a form of payment. And we have two different platforms. One is our School Connect platform called School Connect. It's a student information management system. And this really connects parents, teachers, and students together through a single window, basically application, where you have messaging, you get lesson plans, schedule, attendance maintenance, attendance management. If there's absentees happening, there's a notification system and an escalation system. What happens in an emergency situation if the child gets sick at school? Medical history can be adopted into the system. And so for the student, they get to know what's going on day to day. They can message back and forth with the teacher or other kids in their class, get the lesson plans, reference material. Again, we're not in the School Connect, we're not actually offering any educational content. We're leaving that to the educators, that's where their core competency is. But here we're providing a tool that kind of nicely manages all the other aspects of what's going on within the school. From the municipal level on the school side, they get reporting on the performance of each individual class. They can do comparative analysis between classes and schools on a case-by-case or student-by-student or teacher-by-teacher basis. So it gives real good insight from an analytics standpoint, so they can manage the schools and figure out where they need to put resources, or learn where things are going really well and maybe extract some best practices that can be then dispersed to the rest of the school community. So we believe that we'll have a material impact as to the quality of the educational experience, and I think this is a real important cause for us. The second platform that we have in the educational space is our Talk to Expert platform, and this is where we're providing content. And the first version or iteration of that platform will be a commercial enterprise that we launch initially in Vietnam, but will spread globally, where it's a master class type of Udemy, lynda.com type of thing, where either you subscribe for all you can consume or purchase individual courses at, again, a much lower cost typically than what people are used to in the Western world. We're again targeting the developing nations of the world, so cost is something that we're trying to keep ultra low. But the different spin that is not just on cost, is we're adding some additional functionality into our platform. And the Talk to Expert portion of it is after the content consumer has the ability to talk directly through a video conference with the content creator. Obviously, this has to be scheduled, and that's a paid for service, but gives them that option. And so if we have experts that are providing content on our platform, the ability to actually talk directly to those experts and consult with them is a massive bonus, right? And it closely more mirrors what happens in a university environment where a lecturer will give the lecture, and then after they make themselves available to students to answer any questions or provide feedback or counseling or whatever it might be. But having that additional human interface is, I think, is a key differentiator for us. So we're really proud about that, and we want to have our first iteration of this platform out in the September timeframe. We'll be very shortly putting out a call to action to get content providers to come to us that want to bring their content on board, and we'll have some very specific needs where we want to have filled. Now, the first iteration of that platform, again, is going to be a closed, more centralized version where we can control exactly what content's being put there, the quality of the content, and of course the pricing. But it is our goal to do a completely decentralized version of that content platform, whereas content consumers obviously will pay for content that they're viewing, but they will also be paid for watching place content such as advertisements. Content creators that are putting their content into the platform obviously will get paid by the platform through the interface, through the decentralized app, and of course advertisers will also be paying into the platform where they want to have their ads placed. We will have the decentralized app also be self-governing, meaning that it'll be self-policing. There'll be a mechanism for adjudicating whether there's inappropriate content that needs to be taken off, and so there will be a mechanism for that. So we really will create a system that will be entirely self-governed. So that's, I think, an important feature. I expect that more decentralized version, the first iteration of that, will be in the Q4 timeframe, at the end of Q4 or beginning Q1 of 2022. We're also wanting to develop some technology to support that in terms of a content delivery network, meaning that we're looking at having people run nodes where they're donating a portion of their hard drive to store content that will be available on demand to users who need it. And when this happens, of course, the smart contract that's managing all this will be paying people for providing that service. So anybody that wants to run a node and store some content at whatever limit they want on their computer, they can earn for doing that feature. All right, so that'll be the CDN side. I think we're looking at Q1, Q2 for delivering that next year. Again, you always hear from me about iterations. So we're constantly looking at innovations to bring into these various platforms. It's not a fire and forget thing. Will be always constant ongoing development, and I think that's key to making the platform really advantageous. Okay, hopefully that explained, that answers Terrace's question, or Tara's. I'm sorry, I forgot your name wrong. Okay. Aboba is asking, is your project centralized or decentralized? So these are good questions. We're both. So as I just mentioned with our Talk to Expert platform, we're a centralized application for our own commercial gain. Of course, we want to also have some things that are making revenue, but we'll also have a completely decentralized version out in the marketplace. So we have views of doing both types. In the DeFi application for the renewable energy side, especially for solar-based projects, that's going to be more decentralized than centralized. Just the nature of how we want to do the staking and to provide liquidity for the various projects that need to be funded are not being funded or controlled by us, but will be centrally managed through the smart contract, through third-party providers that are going to validate the security, provide the collection service or enforcements of the security where needed. There'll be suppliers that'll be approved such that everything flows as expected. We also have some other DeFi features that we want to build into the platform in terms of reselling the receivable, and so there's some opportunity for larger institutional players to come in and basically pick up the outstanding receivable and make money that way, then providing more liquidity to the platform. So that starts to get a little bit complicated, but that will be a completely decentralized app. Okay, how can we, Kopech, how can we trust ESP data will not be manipulated or falsified? So ESP, if we're talking about the token itself, we've gone to some great lengths to make sure that we're transparent with everything that we're doing. We've made our token code available on GitHub. You can go to espcoin.io and traverse the link, and you can see our code at GitHub to look for yourself, as well as we've gone out to a third party called Surtech and had our code validated, right? So they've done the audit and it's come back. So the report is also available from Surtech through our website, but it's directly available off their website as well if you search for us. We're going to great lengths to make sure that we're trying to not put anything out there that can be hacked, taken advantage of, but also to make sure that we're transparent and showing how we're running the business. I think that's really important to engender trust into the platform. Our other smart contracts, we have one smart contract that runs the ICO itself that wasn't certified, but again, this is providing just liquidity to the market, so there's no real issue there. One of the other things from a security standpoint is only one person has access to the uncirculated tokens. We did this to make sure that we didn't have multiple axes of threat. So many different threat vectors are problematic, so we've reduced that as much as possible. We've also made the point of having a succession plan, so if something unfortunate happens to that individual, we have somebody else that will then automatically be able to take over. And in fact, these two people exist on opposite sides of the planet, so really the only thing that's going to disrupt that is if the Earth gets hit by an asteroid, and if that actually happens, probably we have something more to worry about than what's going on with the token. So we continue to take a lot of steps to ensure the public what we're doing. In terms of the tokenomics and our buyback programs and whatnot, we will make public when we do. We will show on a register on the website. What the buyback amount was, when it happened. Here's the transaction IDs. Here's the transaction for the burn and all this stuff. Again, showing the transparency to the public, so they can again trust we're doing what we say we're going to do. So hopefully I've addressed your question. Many projects are fraudulent. They are good at convincing people of their reliability, but turns out that people remain deceived. And that's an unfortunate reality in the crypto space. One of the problems is that it's fairly unregulated at this period of time. Though I see regulation is on its way, certainly in some domains. If you look at what the discussions that are happening in the United States. This is a reality. There's issues where projects build up a huge token base, and then this magic rug pull, or they just disappear or whatnot. That's real difficult to to deal with, because a lot of token holders just get left with nothing. When you do your due diligence and look at the various projects, I think you have to check out and see, look into the team members, what they're doing, what their history is. Spend some time. I think that investments or purchases of tokens aren't done, on a whim. I think you should invest only in things that you understand and have a good gut feel about. So with us, we try to, showcase everything that we're doing. And if, over the last 11 or 12 weeks, now almost 12 weeks, we've been fairly vocal in terms of all the steps that we're taking, and then here's the next step, and here's what we're doing to make available, and so on and so forth. So we're doing our best to earn your trust. And I think that, that's the way that you have to do it. Right, and proof is going to be by execution. We execute through the various stages of the project to start bringing things online. Our call to actions, we continue to communicate with everybody. That's great. That's happening. You also see, we have some real world agreements from a business standpoint with real bricks and mortar businesses. We'll have a very big one coming in the coming couple of weeks. So we're in the middle of negotiating it, but it's a company that's $5 billion in revenue, 26,000 employees, well respected out of Europe. And so I think they're also going to be doing their due diligence to make sure that the project is real, we do what we're going to say, and they understand the partnership, because again, they also don't want to ruin their reputation in any way. So their partner selections is a rigorous process, which we're going through now. And I welcome that for any new partner that we bring online, to make sure that first of all, we have alignment in philosophy, alignment in vision, and making sure that it's a good marriage. All right. Wow, these things are coming across pretty fast. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get through everybody's question, but I'm going to do my best. For the questions that I'm not able to address immediately, we'll try to answer these and get them on the channel at a later date. But let's keep going through here. In early 2022, you will launch a decentralized platform. Many decentralized networks have dependencies on centralized parties, and that is a weak link. What are ESP's main problems facing in achieving that? That's a complicated question, and a very good one. We are trying to construct our decentralized versions where they're totally autonomous, self-governing, which is one of the reasons why we are looking at alternative chains as well to Ethereum, something like Tezos or some of the other chains out there that has on-chain governance that makes that process a little bit easier. It's also one of the aspects of we potentially may come out with our own coin, our own native coin. And in doing that, we can inbuild, the features and functions to make sure that we don't have a single point of failure. But also, when you bring out your own coin, it's got to be something that we make completely open source, make available to the public, and it's something that we don't directly control. It's really our vision to provide blueprints for the various decentralized applications that we're going to be deploying, such that other people can be doing exactly the same thing through the same smart contracts or interfaces that we're creating. Such that, again, it's not a central point. Now that's on the decentralized apps. On our School Connect platform, on our Talk to Expert, that's our commercial enterprise, those are always going to be centralized apps, because we want to have complete control, again, over the quality of the content, how it works, the deployment model. We have a full business behind it, so we have sales teams, onboarding teams that work hand in hand with the customers to get these out in the field. So these are real operational businesses that need to be centralized. Okay, hopefully that answered your question. I'm sorry that some of this is, I think, in Russian that I cannot read. As I joked yesterday, I speak only two languages, English and bad English. So I apologize, and maybe we'll have somebody else from the team. We have a number that will speak Russian that can address your questions offline on the stream. Sorry, on Telegram. Thank you. Okay. Who are you planning to invite on your next live stream? And that's a question from Borsch. I believe we're going to talk a little bit about digital payments. So we'll bring Hervoy, I think, online for that call. So we'll interview him and his expertise. Talk a bit about the applications that we are working on in country in Africa. He can provide more detail there as to the nature of the agreement, how we plan on working, what does the rewards and point system look like versus digital payments, how does the ECR network or the electronic cash register network function as a mini exchange, so fiat to crypto and crypto back to fiat, because that's going to be an important aspect of putting that on the merchant network. So I think that's probably going to be our next our live stream, but that'll be our next topical live stream. I think we have a couple more AMAs that we're going to be doing, so we'll do this AMA follow-up as time goes on. But that is certainly something that we'll be integrating into the constant stream of communication. Okay. So we're just going through what I can read here. What do you, from Borsch and Tilio. I'm sorry, I'm really bad with names here. But let me read out the question here. What do you plan to achieve in the remaining half of this year? What difficulties have arisen during the last development period, and are you sure of your success? So really we've got a couple of key things that are going to happen. First and foremost, we want to get onto an exchange. We're currently in negotiations for that, and we really expect that to happen in the next couple of weeks. So that's the next evolution, what's happening with the token. Once we're on the exchange, of course, the work there is going to start to broaden, and then we're going to continue to focus on the roadmap. Potentially, we'll look at bringing Cardano as the next chain supported, and in it having a friction-free gateway to pass tokens between the two networks. That's something that is on the roadmap. And of course, then on the business use case, this is where things are more important, is certainly launching our Talk to Expert platform in the September timeframe, having the first candidate of our student information management system out there. That's absolutely key. Now, you were asking what potential roadblocks do we have, and unfortunately, one of the ones that we're currently in discussion to see how we mitigate is COVID-19. Lots of the development, at least initially for the student information management system, exists in Vietnam. We're localizing it there for language and all the other reasons, because that's where our first market is. It's a big market, 20 plus million students, about 6,000 or more private schools, so we can nicely grow organically there to get our basically our proof of concept out in the market. But COVID has really reared its ugly head. Up until May of this year, Vietnam has been virtually untouched. I mean, they've been, they had a short period of lockdown, everybody's wearing masks, but up until I think May 1st, they had fewer than a few thousand overall cases. Now they're running at 8, 9, 10,000 cases, I think, on a per day basis. Ho Chi Minh City is under full lockdown. access to food and everything, and vaccines are difficult right now. So they're in a fair amount of pain. And of course, that is where we're doing development is going to be a bit of a headwind. So we're waiting to see how that, those aggressive steps that they've taken now to, we hope that will really produce results over the next 2 weeks, such that it won't have a huge impact to the timeline. But that is one of the obvious issues that we have to contend with. Already we've decided to move some of the development back here to Canada for our Talk to Expert platform, just so we can get that out in a timely fashion still in September. But on the student information management system, I'm more tied to the local developer team there. It's a much more complex project. There's smartphone apps both in Android and iOS. And of course we have the website of things. The scalability of that platform is important because if you can imagine that we have to support potentially millions of simultaneous users, like every kid looks at their schedule first thing in the morning, we have to be able to handle these types of things and dynamically allocate resources through our back-end platform, the server side of things. There's a lot of interesting stuff that's happening there, and that's all locally happening initially in Vietnam. Once that that platform is proven, is out there, then we have our other opportunity to follow up in the UAE and provide it at a government level, so countrywide. And with the endorsement with powerful figures there, I think we're really pushing hard to make that all happen before the end of the year. So hopefully I've addressed that issue. How long am I planning to stream? For this particular stream, just as long as needed. Realistically, I could probably go maybe another 30 or 45 minutes. Again, it depends on the interest level. But we are going to try to do these streams on a more frequent basis. It seems to be well received by the market. They've asked for more content. It takes some time to put these things together, and right now, because we're so geographically dispersed and travel's still difficult because of COVID and whatnot, I've got different teams. I'm here in Canada. I've been doing live streams at 3 o'clock or 4 a.m. in the morning, and right now it's noon here. But also interacting with the people in Vietnam. There's 11-hour time difference from here, and we've got some real business issues to get through. It takes a little bit longer to put some of this content together, but rest assured, we are developing that content and we'll bring it out as soon as we can, and we want to continue to be doing these types of live stream events. It might not be every day, but certainly every couple of days we want to get some additional content out there. And we're also looking for feedback. So as often as we're putting things together on our own, having feedback from the community, what they want to know about, the questions that you have, what you like, what you don't like, that really helps us because we can make course corrections both in terms of what the content looks like and how we do it, but also it's instructive to us from an application standpoint. You may have some ideas that we have not thought about that maybe that could bring some value to the platforms that we're deploying that we can take advantage of. We love that kind of stuff because we're not doing this again by ourselves. We do this in partnership with experts, and there's a lot of experts out there on the other side of this camera that we can take advantage of. So we're happy to do that as much as possible. Okay. Do I have any news? Skylar Taylor is asking. We just had an interview posted on investing.com, so I think you'll see that news release on the Telegram channel today. So we're happy about that. Over the last about 2 weeks, we've had about just under 20. I think it's 19 now. 19 different articles, mentions, videos, or video interviews. again, articles written about us, talking about the use cases and how important, cryptocurrency and the token is to these use cases. For us, just talking a little bit about our background, we've been working on the student information management system for about 3 years. And one of the problems that we had was how to get it into everybody's hands. How to get full functionality for the user base. And the token plays a vital role in terms of being able to offer payments, so people can pay for tuition, books, field trips. Now, not to say is that there's a lot of users of the system, especially if it gets into the public school side, where payments aren't really an issue, and still they want access to all the different features. We still want to have the token there to be able to make payments for lunches and so on and so forth for the students. So we were having a difficult time figuring out an architecture that was low cost, that wasn't requiring all those complex things with payment gateways, and if we're running the service centrally out of, say, if the server complex is in Singapore or whatnot, we're running multiple countries out of one server complex, how we manage all these things. The token automatically does all that for us just by the nature of it. And all we really then need to do is make sure that there's local exchanges where there's ease of conversion of the token from fiat to currency back and forth. And that solves just a whole raft of problems. It also deletes out of the equation a whole bunch of cost elements. Certainly the payment gateways in the developing side of the world are expensive. And so removing that out of the system makes it much easier. Also, the other key thing is that, as everybody knows, with cryptocurrency, payments are immediate. You receive the funds right away, you can use the funds right away. Through a payment gateway, you might have to have 30-day hold on funds depending on how things are, worried about chargebacks and all this stuff, where none of these problems exist in the cryptocurrency space. Now, in the terms of discussion about chargebacks, where that may occur, we have to have a different mechanism for refunds and whatnot that support those types of things where that needs to happen, right? But we don't have to worry about credit facilities and all these things, especially on the merchant side where they're providing resources into the educational network. And if you take a step back and look at it from a digital payment side, this is actually really key. So, making sure that we have a very lightweight, low cost approach to digital payments, because again, in the third world, payments are usually fairly low value. And so the high cost of Ethereum right now is a barrier to that. So we're looking at, again, alternate chains like Cardano, or layer 2 solutions, scaling solutions on top of Ethereum. And I think there's lots of interesting things that are happening there that will help us out, and that gets us part of the way. In our situation where we have deployed ECR networks, again, electronic cash register, we may do that as a completely self-controlled side chain where we're just netting resultant transactions or a series of transactions onto the Ethereum blockchain, therefore dramatically reducing the overall gas fee charges that exist and that are native to the chain. Okay. That was the news. Is there any point in taking part in airdrops? We have our random distribution already of the transaction tax, and so just being by the nature of being a token holder, and I encourage everybody to go out and get some tokens so they can take advantage of this, because as every transaction has a 1% tax associated with it, half of that 1% is burned. The other half is just randomly distributed to a token holder. So as long as you're holding some tokens, your basket is open to receiving the tax disbursement. So that's really our form of airdrops. Um, the really the big push here is, we have certain financial models in place where, we're going through this ICO process both online right now with the website, but certainly, this continues on when we get onto the exchange. There's some parameters there where we don't want to put out a whole bunch of, low-cost coins out there, tokens, such that, creates a dash for cash at the exchanges once we go live on an exchange, and then puts a lot of downward pressure on the value of the token. That's counterproductive to everything that we want to do. We also want to make sure that we're protecting the marketplace. So we're also very careful about how we're bringing liquidity onto the market. It'll be in a very controlled and stable way. We have policy rules that govern how we do that. Again, with every effort to protect the market. Okay. What major exchanges have your tokens listed on? Unfortunately, we're not on any major exchanges today. We have shortlisted 4 right now that we're currently in negotiations with, and expect to be on, say, a top 30 exchange within the next couple of weeks. And that's really the goal, the next major goal and milestone for the project. And then that really starts to open up the floodgates, I think, for the project and adoption of the token. Hopefully we have, I again encourage people to take advantage of picking up the token now while we have it at this price. Our expectation is that we're building up to something that's more valuable. At the same time, we're offering a couple incentives. If you're new to the stream or recently joined, we're going to comp the next 5 purchasers of tokens since we started the stream and until the next 5 happen. We're going to be doubling their purchases. So if you buy $10,000 worth of tokens, you're going to get 10,000 more worth of tokens if you're one of those first 5. Okay, so take advantage of it. We're trying to do these things. I want to also have a little fun with it. These contests, it just gets people talking about it, and we just really like to engage more with the community, because I think your support and everybody's positive support that we've been getting through Telegram and all the messaging that I'm getting has been really great. But what gets us to the project moving forward and advancing the needle on all the different business elements that are going is, of course, getting the token more adopted. So that's key for the success of this project as well. Are there any other projects whose goals coincide with yours? I'm not. Dark Angel is asking this. I'm not sure what you mean there, but if there are other partners that we're working with that are aligned in the same way, certainly like what we're doing in the solar space with existing business and putting up the decentralized app, their goals are again aligned with ours. We're looking at taking an existing business and scaling it by a factor of 10 or more. By providing this type of architecture available. So yeah, absolutely. There's lots of coincident things happening. It's not just our project. We have the different business elements working together. If you are asking, are there other projects that are similar to the way we're working? I'm not sure. I haven't. Each one of these protocols, platforms, they're all running their own way. They all have their own unique spin on things. So, I'm not sure there's a lot of apples to apples comparison that I can give you right now. But, we're really focused on the business use cases that we currently have. Because it's not just, again, as I mentioned before, the token, which is a business in itself and it's its own animal. We have parallel businesses in digital payments and the solar renewable energy side, and then the 2 platforms initially with the with the educational side. These are each one a separate business. So instead of running one business, we've got 3, 4, or 5 to run, And if everybody can tell you is running a business is not a simple thing, we have to manage 4 or 5 of them. So execution on every single element is really key to make sure we have the right people in place. So, certainly in Vietnam, with Trang, we have an HR expert, so recruitment of getting the right people in the right positions to help move the business forward as quick as we're moving is really key. We've accomplished a lot in the last 10 or 11 weeks now. An awful lot's been done prior to that in terms of the business case development, the networking that's happened, the agreements that we have in place, the understandings, memorandums of understandings that we've architected that have created all the use cases and all the demand initially for what we want to deploy. So now it's a rush to get to that deployment, and again, getting the token in everybody's hands, I can't stress this enough, is really key. So we're trying to do everything we can to make that happen as quick as possible. Okay. So Pegasus is asking, do you have partnership with someone? Absolutely. So the one that we announced last Wednesday is with a company called Circle Blue out of Croatia. We also have partnerships in the UAE with one of the sheikhs, their office. So that basically is at the government level, which gives us an endorsement into the Minister of Education. We have partnerships in Vietnam, both on the HR side to help us get integrated with operations there, but also, so that's an execution element. But also on the business development side, we have certain agreements that we have in place with education providers that are going to be the first rollout candidates with the platforms. Okay. Serenity is asking, what are the current target markets your project is targeting? What are your plans for rapid growth in terms of users, global market, and partners? Okay. Great questions. So primarily, we're initially launching in Vietnam, which you've heard me say a bunch of times. And the reason for that is that it has a good critical mass. On the education side, it's 22 million students. If you consider about $5 or the price of coffee per student per year, that's it's $100 million type of business opportunity for us. Market size opportunity just in the student information management system. Because there are 6,000 private schools there, for us to organically grow, prove the technology, get it deployed, and then accepted at the government level is a real possibility there. So that's one of the key targets for us. Dubai was also another key target for us, and that because we can interface directly at the minister level, meaning that we can get adopted by an entire country. Dubai itself, I think it's somewhere around 600,000 students, isn't a huge monetary opportunity, but to actually prove that we can do it on a countrywide level is also key. We have relationships in Africa, obviously on the digital payment side, and primarily right now in East Africa, though I've done a lot of work in Senegal, Ivory Coast, Mauritius myself on various projects. We have agreements currently with Circle Blue to target East Africa for the deployment on the digital payment side. We also have other relationships in Brazil for the educational platform. We have certain platforms already running that are help supporting some of the operations that we currently have run today out of Ireland and the UK, which also represents possibilities once the educational platform, the Talk to Expert, is ready to launch. That will domain out of Ireland that will then broadcast to a broader portion of the world. Obviously we have eyes on other Asian territories, so whether it's Thailand, Malaysia, the Philippines is very similar to Vietnam, 20+ million students, so it's a very good, attractive opportunity for us. Once we're well situated, I think Singapore itself, because it's such a a technologically advanced society to integrate our platform into their school system, it really is, I think, a natural fit. And then of course, we talk about India. I've personally spent in the last 3 years 6 months in India developing relationships at the ministerial level to launch various applications. And of course, there with 330 million students is a massive market opportunity for the project. So we can't obviously attack all these things at once. Scale is difficult at that level. So primarily it's get launched in Vietnam, get our countrywide certification, if you want to call it that, in UAE, and then we're broadening to attack the other Asian countries such as again Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, and as well as broaden the base to Africa and Brazil. Again, every country that we will operate in will have a localized version of the platform. So it's localized for language and particular nuance. So it's a very, it's a huge undertaking. So, every country will have an operational company that has, sales staff, onboarding, technical support, finance and all these types of things. Some of those resources we'll try to coalesce, like for instance, call centers or whatnot that are multilingual. We'll try to, offer that to reduce costs and whatnot. But again, that's, a broader scope, and that's a year or so away. But right now it's, target on getting the product out there. First, it's going to show up as a, minimum viable product, which, we test, prove, then we build out to, add all the different feature sets that we want, and then we grow the business side of the business. So they're the opportunity side of the business. So that's how that we'll get to market. Can you briefly talk about partnerships with Talk to Expert, Digital S&T, and School Connect? What advantage does your project give your product? Well, we've basically compartmentalized each one of these platforms so they can be independently run and managed, and frankly, if the right partnership comes along, there might be an acquisition or something that comes into play there. So we operate these in all these different entities. The Digital S&T, which is the master company that is on top of everything, it holds all the intellectual property for everything. And so it's basically a holding company, and we just use that for logistics and structure. Where the company is really operational is at the individual level. So when we run in Ireland or when we run in Vietnam, there'll be an operational entity that actually does everything. Because frankly, in many cases, we'll have to have the servers, and by law we'll have to have the data reside within country. We're earning within country, so we'll have to pay tax in those countries as well. Proper reporting of taxes and these types of things. So there'll be corporate entities set up everywhere we work. The structure of all the businesses are just a means to actually operating the businesses, and then legally we just compile everything into one corporation from an intellectual property standpoint to manage. Okay, safety and security is always the most important thing. What is the ESP security mechanism so that user assets do not become the target of hacking? So one of the things that we do, and I mentioned this before, was that we only have a single point of access for the uncirculated supply of coins, because I think the thing that could be the worst is if somebody was able to basically steal that or abscond with it and then dump it on the market for quick profit. It destroys the market, all that liquidity, and crashing the market. I think that's the realistic threat that we're most worried about that can happen. Again, by policy, only one person has access to that, and therefore we'll constrain, we'll keep that as safe as possible. For the most part, a lot of that asset will remain in hardware wallets, in cold storage, and these types of things, just so we can mitigate any potential loss there. Now, what happens when you provide liquidity onto the exchanges, we're also very selective on what happens at the exchange level to make sure that they have the security in place, have the right custodial mechanisms, such that we feel safe as a corporation that putting our liquidity in those environments is safe. That's really where the key things happen. On the deployment of the various applications, of course, we're going to peer review all our different smart contracts as best we can, so it's as bug-free as possible. But we also look to make sure that we've addressed all the potential threats that could attack those smart contracts. There's plenty of cases, I think, that in history here on the blockchain where ill-conceived smart contracts have been circumvented or been taken advantage of, and drained of their funds or whatnot, and that hurts obviously the user base. So of course we'll take steps to, again, third-party validate what we're doing there, and we also make sure that we limit at any one point in time where we have our liquidity sitting, such that assets just can't disappear. And if you weren't on the stream earlier, I just mentioned before that we've already had our token code certified by CertTech to look for those security vulnerabilities, to make sure that, again, that people's assets and basically their balances that are held within that smart contract that for an ERC20 are secure. And we've done all those things, and we continue to do those things. Okay. Okay, we'll see more to know more. All right. Looking forward to September and the launch of the POS platform. Yep, there's lots of things going on. We'll have some more announcements around the digital payment side. We're pretty excited about where things are going. For us, again, as I said, the key is making sure that we get onto an exchange quickly. So we're making the token more available. Right now, the token is only available off our website. You can only purchase it using Ether through typically MetaMask. There are some other wallets that will allow you to do it if it's Web3 enabled, or follows that particular standard, which the number I can't remember right now, which standard that is. But certainly, we hope that people will start to take advantage. If you're new to the stream, again, we have an offer out there. The next 5 purchases since the beginning of the stream that will double those purchases. So take advantage of that. We also have our Average Joe contest. There's again details on how that works on the Telegram channel, so it's pinned at the top of the chat. But basically, if your total purchases match the average purchases over the period of time, you'll double again your purchases over that period. So we're trying to make it fun for everybody and give some opportunity to learn or earn. As of course everybody starts to purchase, every purchase out of the contract, there's the 1% transaction tax. So again, half of that we burn. But every token holder can be a recipient of that, the other half of that randomized tax disbursement. So as more people are buying, more tax disbursements are happening. And you can validate this. You can verify this very easily on etherscan.io. The way to do it is you take our token contract, which you just copied off the website, put it in the etherscan.io, and then you can actually see every single transaction that is happening within that contract. Follow the token contract, and you'll see that how much on every send transaction, how much is burned, how much is distributed, and you can even see which accounts are being distributed to, and you can see how randomized that process is. And we think that the way we've architected that code it's fair for everybody. Everybody has an equal opportunity of getting a tax disbursement over time. Statistically, that should be spread out equally over time. Now, what I will say is that early adopters are the benefit of being selected more often because they had more chances of being part of the selection process. So again, early adopters will get more tax disbursement just for the fact that they've been there longer and have enjoyed more chances of receiving the tax disbursement. All right, so hopefully you'll take advantage of that. Thank you, Moscow. Everybody asked so many good questions about your project, but nobody asked the most important question. How are you? How's your day going? Well, my day is great. I love doing these types of things. I like being able to interact with people. I can tell you that here in Canada, the last, 16 months or so of COVID confinement, more or less, has been tough. Socially, you're not seeing people. You're trying to do as much work as you can remotely with your teams around the world, but it's not the same thing being able to press the flesh. We're finally we've reached this, what we call level 3 now. So we're able to go out and meet people and start to socialize again. So, it's summer here. It's out of the freezing weather. We have days that are 34, 35 degrees C, so quite hot. And it's summer, so times are good. So I appreciate the question, Moscow. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to just hang out here for maybe another minute or so, but if there are no more questions, we'll end the stream pretty soon. And again, as I said, we'll be doing this on a frequent basis, and I appreciate all these good questions. I will see if I can get some of these messages that I could not read because they're in a different language addressed, and they will be put onto the Telegram chat and the other social channels. Certainly, please go to espcoin.io and join the other streams, whether it's Reddit, Medium, Facebook, Twitter, of course. You can get links to all our social media channels there. We do have also other programs in place. So if you want to directly message me and ask about some of the promotional programs that we have that you want to take advantage on, if you're an influencer, we're happy to include you in those programs. But do pick up the coin or the token. Get involved. Even if it's a small amount, it helps us a great deal, and we're super appreciative of the support that we're getting from all the feedback from the web through the different channels, and of course for the many that have already picked up the token. Thank you very much, and we hope that'll continue. Okay, I think that's going to be it for today. Again, thanks so much for everybody's time, and appreciate for everybody who hung out in the chat. That looks like most of the people stayed for a fairly lengthy chat, and love the engagement. And I think the more we can do of this, the better. And we're getting better at it. As I said, my first live stream was just 3 days ago, and it was pretty rough. I'll be honest. Better this time, I think, and more comfortable, but being able to interact with the group here through YouTube and real good questions. I like the challenge. I like the being able to talk about these things because it informs everybody, including us, about what people are thinking about. So I think it's really valuable, and I thank you so much for that. So everybody have a great, wonderful day, and we look forward to you being on the project and interacting with you as time goes on. Okay, have a great one.